Hey yo guys, it is Kid with Skills. Today we're going to be breaking down the Aphrodite boons. Before we do that, I just want to say I've been running her boons a lot more often. Definitely feel the weak status is pretty strong. But yeah, let's get into it. First on the list is Heartbreak Strike. Heartbreak Strike inflicts weak and does 50% damage. So it's a standard status effect strike attack, so weak effect is really solid, so I definitely recommend playing around Heartbreak Strike if you can. Same thing with Heartbreak Flourish, same thing, 80% damage for the special damage, also inflicts weak. Those are both really strong for your basic attack and your flourish. Definitely something I recommend picking up because again the weak effect are very strong and you can augment it in different ways with other passive boons. Next up is Crush Shot. I actually don't like this cast that much, especially by itself. It's a very short range. It does decent damage, but it also inflicts weak. I guess that's why it's one of the more unique casts, because not many of the casts do actually inflict the status of their god. So it is good in that aspect. If you need something to proc privilege status, and maybe you have like the same color for your strike in your flourish, you can pick this up to get that extra status effect. Passion Flare, that is just the aspect of Beowulf cast, so similar to all the other flares, you just slam down your shield and it does inflict the status effect as well. Next up is Passion Dash. Your dash deals damage where you end up inflicting weak, so this dash does actually inflict status, so it's good in that regard. The damage is 20. Honestly, I don't like the Passion Dash over a lot of the other stronger dashes in the game, so I generally wouldn't recommend picking this up if you have to. Definitely recommend other dashes over it. Aphrodite's Aid is actually pretty strong, so not only does it charm the foe, including bosses, if you charge it all the way up, it deals a massive amount of damage, especially if that privilege status on them, so that's 40%. It does 2500 damage when it's fully charged. So that's a lot, plus 40%. You're chunking bosses with that, so I definitely recommend this as one of the stronger calls if you're just trying to deal out big damage, big burst damage. So next up is Dying Lament. That is the when foes are slain, they damage nearby foes and inflict weak. So pretty much enemies will kind of explode and deal weak in a blast or AoE area, inflict weak and do some damage. So it's pretty good. Just to continue, this has no prerequisites either, so you can even pick this up if you are not running Aphrodite and you get her and you don't want to really mess up your build. This is a good passive boon just to get another status effect on enemies. Next up is Wave of Despair. This is her revenge ability. After you take damage, foes around you inflict weak. That revenge damage is 50, and again they take weak damage, so I always recommend revenge damage. Hopefully you're not getting hit that often, but as a way not to mess up your build, if you have to take something and you're trying to leave a spot open for another ability you want, this is a good passive boon to take. Next is Life Affirmation. Any chamber rewards are worth more. Bonus life gain on the base level is 30%, so you're just gonna get more health from any chamber rewards and stuff like that. It's solid. Again, it's another boon that you can take to not mess up your build and not fill a slot if you're looking for other gods to fill one of your active ability slots. Different League is her resistance damage from nearby foes attacks, reduced damage from foes, so 10% the base. This is also, like I said, for the other boons, it's a good kind of passive boon to have. Taking less damage is always good, so you can't go wrong with that. So we're gonna get into her boons that actually affect your status effects. The next one is Empty Inside. Your weak effects have a longer duration, so if you're running a build that's focused on the weak status, this is great because it's going to make the weak status last even longer. The next one is Broken Resolve. Your weak effects are more potent. Weak damage reduction 10%, so the enemies are going to do less damage to you with this guy. And coupled with Empty Inside, this is going to last even longer, so this is going to improve the weak status just in general. Alright, next is Blown Kiss. Your cast shoots farther and is stronger against undamaged foes. This is for her cast, so 50% more damage. And it's going to have a longer range. By itself, Crush Shot is kind of very much like a shotgun, but with this you're definitely going to get way better range out of it, so to improve that. But again, you're going to have to get 2 boons to really get the most out of Crush Shot, so I really don't recommend Crush Shot except in very like specific situations. Next is Sweet Surrender. I think this is probably her, like, one of her strongest passive boons. Weak afflicted foes are also more susceptible to damage. So that's 10% on the base level. That's really good. So anyone affected weak is going to take more damage. And of course, you want to deal as much damage in a small amount of time. So this is going to help you do that. Again, one of her strongest boons. Next up is Unhealthy Fixation. This is her legendary, and this is, I think, one of the better legendaries in the game. Your weak effects also have a 15% chance to charm foes. The charm duration is 4 seconds. This works against bosses. So if you have if you're using a weapon that's kind of rapid fire, like the railgun or the twin fist, you can actually get charm out pretty, pretty commonly with Unhealthy Fixation. You're gonna be able to proc it a lot with the rapid attacking weapons or weapon aspects, so I definitely recommend trying to get her legendary when you can. It does have prerequisites, so some of them are Empty Inside, Sweet Surrender, and Broken Resolve on one tier. The other is Passion Dash, Crush Shot, Heartbreak Strike, Heartbreak Flourish, or Passion Flare. So you need one of each of those groups to get this, but I definitely recommend trying to. It's a great legendary. Next, we're going to get into her duos. First one is Parting Shot. Your cast gains any bonuses you have for striking foes from behind. So bonus backstab damage 35%. So your cast, if it has any augments or things that change how your cast works, this is also going to work from behind, dealing an extra 35% damage. This is Aphrodite and Athena, so this is just pretty much you need the basic stuff from either of them. You know, your strike, your cast, your flourish, your call, or your dash from either of them. One from either of them, and you can get this guy. Next up is Curse of Belonging. This is Aphrodite and Ares. Your doom effects continuously strike weak foes with excessive hit damage 50%. This is fantastic for her, or for both of them. Just more damage. So it's kind of gonna tick and keep taking more damage and more damage and more damage, or just consistent damage from having the weak and the doom effect on somebody. So I definitely recommend, if you're running the two of them together, to try and get this. From Ares, you need Curse of Pain or Agony, which is the strike and flourish. And then from Aphrodite, the dash, the flourish, the strike, the call, or the cast from her to have a chance of getting this. Next is Low Tolerance. This is Dionysus and Aphrodite. Your hangover effects can stack more times against weak foes, so plus 3 times. I think it's 5 times you can do drunk, but I think that's something that you can change that too. But regardless, you're going to be to stack it more to do more continuous damage against them. Again, you need a strike, flourish, dash, or call from Dionysus. Same thing from Aphrodite as well. Next is Heartrend. This is Artemis and Aphrodite. So the critical effects deal even more damage to weak foes. So 150% damage to weak foes. That's a crap ton. You're exploding them. So I definitely recommend that. Again, the prerequisites are the strike, flourish, cast, and then the dash from Aphrodite's side as well on top of those guys. So one from each of them, and you can have a chance to get that. Next up is Sweet Nectar. This is Poseidon and Aphrodite. Any palms of power, you find it more potent. This is really good if you can get early on, but I think it's kind of hard to. Depending on how you have your mirror set up, it's going to be a little bit easier, but it's still kind of tough. So you need a strike, flourish, cast, dash, or call from both of them, one for both. And then once you get this, so whenever you get a palm, it's going to add an extra level. So that's going to be really good if you can get something like this early on. Okay, last two, Smoldering Air. This is Zeus and Aphrodite. Your God gauge charges up automatically, but it's capped at 25%. I actually don't like this one. I don't ever mean to, I don't ever mean to use the call unless it's maxed out, because you get way better usage out of it from there, except in some cases where you become invulnerable and you might want to get out of jail free card, so you would do it there, but otherwise I wouldn't recommend this. But the prerequisites are the strike, cast, flourish, dash, call from both sides, one of each from either of them. And yeah, so that's Zeus's. And then next up is Demeter in Aphrodite's Cold Embrace. Your cast crystal fires beam directly at you for 4 seconds. So you get bonus damage. Or prerequisites are crystal beam from Demeter, and then a strike, a dash, a flourish, or a call from Aphrodite. I actually really don't like this this duo. So if you're familiar with the crystal beam homes in on enemies. Instead of homing in on enemies, it will home in on you. So you'll have to position yourself and the beam or the crystal to be on the other side of enemies, so it's always going to be firing at you. So it makes it a little bit harder to, so it's easier to have the beam just do its own thing, rather than you having to tell it where to shoot by positioning the enemies between you and the beam. So I don't like it as much. You do get some extra damage from this, but I don't think it's worth it. So yeah, so those are her boons. I'm just gonna say my favorite ones. I'll put these two together. I'll just do top 3 from her for her, but I'm gonna put 2 of these two together. Heartbreak, Strike, and Flourish I'm putting together. They're great to have on your kit. Weak is incredibly strong status effect, and I definitely recommend utilizing it when you get the chance. So I'd say that's one of them, and this is no order either. Next is Sweet Surrender. Weak afflicted foes are more susceptible to damage, so damaging or any way you can get more damage is great. This is a passive. If you're running weak, this is going to be amazing. So you're going to get this 10%, and if you're running other things like privileged status, you're going to get that other 40%, so you can have potentially 50% from those combos and just deal a crap ton of damage. So I definitely recommend Sweet Surrender whenever running Aphrodite boons. Next up is her, next and last is her legendary. It's definitely my favorite boon of hers. The charm effect on bosses is hilarious from the rapid fire stuff. You can just charm them into oblivion. And I know the duration is short, but it's effective. Like if they're not trying to hit you for 4 seconds, that's free easy damage for you that you can get on them, and then you can probably proc it pretty quickly after, depending on what weapon you're using. So I highly recommend whenever you can trying to get unhealthy fixation. Very strong. Her duos are pretty solid as well, but for my top 3 I picked just some of her stuff by herself. So there you have it. Aphrodite's boons are really strong. She has good synergy with a lot of the other gods, so I definitely would look into running multicolored or duo colored build with Aphrodite and some of the other gods. The passive boons are super strong. The weak effect is super strong. Her call is great for doing massive damage. So yeah, I definitely recommend running Aphrodite where you can. Try it on a bunch of different weapons, because it's definitely effective on the majority of the weapons out there. But yeah guys, let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also check out the Twitch. I run Hades weekly. My Twitch is linked below in the info as well. So yeah, give me a follow on that to know when that is happening. And yeah, more videos will be coming soon. And thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Have a good one.